This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
I've never come before.
Hello.
That's not good. I've heard. Wonder if they're in transit. Hang on online, right? Oh,
No.
it's kind of a short meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it.
You want to talk about it during new business?
Yeah, I have to leave at 1:15, remember, so.
Okay.
Hello. We can fit it in.
Oh, wait. All right, I guess we can start the meeting even though we'll have a very non-traditional meeting.
Hello.
Is it recorded?
We're recording, yeah.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the November Commission on Disability meeting. Glad you're here. We're just waiting for our speaker, Robin from the community center. So hopefully they are in transit. So our agenda, we're gonna kind of work backwards or pick pieces according to who's here. Do you want to go over this first?
Yeah, we want to start
Okay.
with that.
Well, I'm just gonna check who's not here. So
Okay. All right. Hello.
Jeff Brown's not here. So that means Bryce is not here. And then we're missing, Louise. She said she might be late. Oh, yes, that's right. Late, possibly. Who else are we missing? Oh, Dylan. Who said he wouldn't be here though. Is that it?
There was a new
person.
person. I can't remember her name, unfortunately.
Okay, so we're missing 5 people. Oof. Okay. Well, we're not going to approve the minutes because we don't have a quorum to do that. So that'll have to wait till next meeting. Okay, so take it away.
Okay, two things I have.
Under new business.
On new business, there's a thing from AARP that came out in their newsletter maybe 2 months ago now called Making Your Town Better. And it's a survey that they're doing to rate people across the country in all kinds of things about the community, and the disability thing comes up big time. So their goal is to find out how we rate and how we can improve our livability standards. So they have a long list of things to check out, like livability, understanding communities' overall livability score, and policies that impact livability and things like that. So they go through the schools, they go through the walking around town, parking, things like what do we have to do to make your community more attractive to you, or things like that. So it's pretty good. Now, Easthampton is sort of in the middle of the ranking, so there's room for improvement. So then the next thing to do is to work on the survey.
So you looked Easthampton up?
Pardon?
You looked
Yeah.
Easthampton up? Okay.
I don't write the number down somehow. but-
Okay.
So you can look it up and you can go, so you can check out Northampton, Easthampton, all kinds of things. And then it compares you with other places of around the same size.
How did they get the info? People
Um,
went and filled this
Yeah,
survey.
it goes into it a little bit, but it's a little vague. But
Okay.
they look at all kinds of numbers and things like that to get the rating.
Okay.
And, so, so it's something that I think we could look at and see if there's things in there that this commission could use as drivers. And it's kind of fun to look at
Yeah.
anyway. But let me see if I wrote it down. So anyway, I didn't write down the numbers, but, one thing that came up like a week or so ago in the Gazette was getting attention on sidewalks. And this is a story on Northampton. And they've had several issues with broken pavement and things like that, where people with walkers and
Right.
disabilities in walking, whatever.
Yeah. Which what's
And
happening here? Yeah.
vision impaired and that kind of thing, having wheelchairs and having accidents and getting hurt, and actually ended up in the hospital.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah. So here's a picture of a lady who fell, which is kind of what started it.
Did she contact the newspaper or something?
Pardon?
Did she contact the newspaper? Is that how?
They started the story because people were having issues and complaining. Yeah. So here's your thing from the
Okay.
paper, and you can see the sidewalk behind her, which is all broken up, and that's near the one of the housing for elderly things on State
Yeah.
Street, I think,
Michael's house. Yeah.
right near where Sirius is.
Okay.
And so my question was, is there something that we can look at here and in the commission and maybe incite a riot, so to speak, to get things fixed?
Well, we have tried to incite a riot
Yeah.
many times, right? About sidewalks,
Yeah,
right? Jeff Brown. We tried to get people to pay attention to the sidewalks, haven't we?
Yeah. the sidewalks and especially the shoveling. We've tried a lot with that with the snow ordinance, but also just the state of the sidewalks overall. And the problem is that like I think a lot of these things are like constructed with grants to begin with or something like that, and then or one-shot funding, and then the funding for maintenance just isn't there unless another grant comes. So like Main Street is Union Street is getting fixed now, and hopefully Main Street as well, but there's just so many places like everywhere that there's I don't know what recourse we have because sidewalks are astronomically expensive to fix, and I don't know where that stands in the budget. Does anyone want to correct me on anything I just said, or does that sound right?
I thought to add, Jeff, the expense of fixing the sidewalks is nothing compared to the expense of fixing the human being that fell and had to go to the hospital. Okay.
But unless Easthampton is going to pay for that, which they probably aren't, they don't care.
It's hard to sue a city. But
Yeah,
they-
I mean, it's that's essentially what it boils down to.
Right, so that's something that we can help prevent too. So in the article in the newspaper, now that they've nailed Northampton, maybe we have a little more leverage too.
Maybe, yeah, and it's true. It is hard to sue a city, and the way to get them to fix the sidewalks would be to sue a city, but we'd have to be an aggrieved party, and I don't think we'd have standing in a lawsuit necessarily. And as a city commission, it would be hard for us to sue ourselves.
Yeah, well, yeah, my point would be to not start with a threat, but to with education and work on it
Yeah.
in a politically correct fashion.
So who do you think we would be educating?
Well, that's that question. I have a lot of questions, but I don't have a lot of answers.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of asking the question or begging the question.
It's
But
just,
I did find the numbers on Easthampton and we're 57 out of a possible score of 100. So it still puts us in the top half of the community, statistically speaking. So, so we can take a look at that and maybe dig a little deeper in that respect too. So I can, bless. She's allergic to,
yeah.
No, I'm allergic to not getting things fixed.
yeah, okay. It's the dust in the air. Yeah. So anyway, to answer Angelique's question, they have several different things like neighborhood proximity and security, affordability and access. So there's a huge one, and safety and convenience.
Are we allowed to put something like this on the Facebook page? This other thing, I think, like the survey, whatever this particular survey is.
I don't see why not.
Well, I can reproduce this again. So if you want a copy of this for the record or whatever, you can have it. So that sort of answers some of your questions on how did they grade it.
This, excuse me, but this
Yeah.
sounds very much like what we've already done with the big citywide survey.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't know what questions are on here. I have to take a look to see if it's different. I've never even heard of it, so I'm wondering who in Easthampton actually, like, was it 2 people? And that's how they got a 50 something. Yeah, so, right, and we're supposed to be working on a new one, but that's a slow process.
Well, now that we know that we're being watched, we can maybe tweak to what we're looking at.
Right. Oh, good. Life expectancy, 81. I have a couple years left. Thank goodness. Oh, feel better already.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we've gone round and round on snow removal stuff. So, I think that's the DPW, right? That was for the fixing the sidewalks.
Yeah,
Yeah. And the guy seemed like he had really good intentions. It's just, yeah, I don't even, what did they say the reporting process was?
I don't,
I don't know. Stan, do you remember what the reporting process is for if you come upon a sidewalk and it's all jacked up?
I would imagine it's, I slipped my mind.
Yeah, is it contacting the DPW?
Yeah, I can't remember the name,
That's okay.
the name of the, I mean, we have an organization that's responsible for maintenance of, of the city.
Right. Well,
I always thought the sidewalks were more, you call DPW if it's obstructed or something like that. I don't know about, I think repairs is its own like budgetary process.
yeah,
Allocation. I don't know.
slow process anyways. If you find it, right? Oh, well, we don't, that's what you were saying, Jeff, right? Like, oh, we have a project in 6 years.
Yeah,
to fix it. Meanwhile, how many people are limited in what they can do or getting hurt?
they're good at kicking the can down the road everywhere.
I like that saying. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Stan.
we have a member of the public, so we might want to do public speak.
Yeah. Ame, are you here for public speak? Or just to join us?
Join us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Oh, and to see Robin, because I didn't see her this week, and just to see.
Oh, I don't know where she is. Do you have her cell?
Girl, she answers the ECC number.
Okay, because I'll call again.
You probably called that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very good about answering the phone. So if she's not answering, she's caught up somewhere. Or she's
I know,
driving.
right? She always answers it like late at night, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll try one more time. Yeah, last time when she was gonna be here, she was picking up food and couldn't get away from it. So.
That's one.
Hi, it's Angelique. Are you still coming to the meeting? Okay, so not at all, like not before 12 or until 12. So if you show up 10 minutes before 12, if you could still go, or I can move you to another time. Okay. Okay. And that's okay. All right, take your time. Okay, bye-bye. Coming from Westfield, so should be here.
She's the best scrounger that you could ever imagine
Scrounger?
for the,
Yeah.
for the,
She needs
Yeah.
people on the board.
Oh, I didn't know that. Do you want
Yeah.
to mention that, like go into what that is a little bit?
She just mentioned, she's like when she leaves, because she is going to leave. Like that woman needs to retire, but she needs to retire knowing that that place is going to carry on.
Taken care of, yeah. Is she
Yeah, and
retiring soon?
she can't retire until she knows what's going on. And I mean, I don't want to speak for her. But I know that the board is reluctant to carry on because she puts in 80-90 hours a week.
Right?
She literally walks 10 miles a day in her huffing and jamming around that place.
Yeah.
And so to replace her, two people, it would take two people.
Right,
So
big shoes to fill, yes.
really big shoes to fill. So yeah.
But she deserves to retire, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to step away from a business. I mean, I had a business for 20 years and it's like you become that, and then so it's hard to step away and then be like, now what am I gonna do? It's like
Exactly.
you take it easy, babe.
Exactly. Yeah.
So talk to her about it.
Okay. All right. So Stan, did you want to talk about the PTSD thing real quick?
I really don't have any, much to say about it. I would, as I wrote to you,
Yeah.
that, there was really not much in there that we didn't know about.
They were just saying that they might change PTSD to PTSI.
Right.
They like the folks that make up diagnoses.
Like in the DSM-5.
Yeah, out there to be an I would stand for injury instead of disorder, which makes more sense. Stan always finds these great little tidbits. So
Little tidbits all over.
he's the great tidbit. And now you're coming up with tidbits.
Yeah.
This is what I like, guys. Yeah, that would be really great because people have a lot of shame about it, which ties into like I wanted to do a whole panel on PTSD and what it looks like because people think it's only for veterans. So that's still in the works. It's just we need more people that can work on a team because it'd be a pretty big panel to put on. Yep.
it's hidden.
Yeah,
It's
I
not,
could-
veterans are big, but gender issues are big. It's all kinds of. things.
Correct,
And-
right, yes.
And there's considerable bias against all women, no matter what,
Correct.
especially in medicine,
Mhm.
which I see all the time.
Oh,
And stuff like that. It's huge.
yep. So I was gonna have of course, a veteran, but then also, trigger warning, but sexual assault, and then somebody that's dealt with a hate crime, like you said, a gender issue. So like have speakers, people who have done some healing. We want to make sure they've done some healing so that this isn't like super triggering for them to do. And then the appropriate person that would could possibly treat them, right? So somebody from the VA that deals with it, right? Because when I tried to do this years ago, like some members were worried about like, what if the folks with PTSD caused like a riot? I was like, what do you think people with PTSD do? But it was a person that's not familiar with mental health stuff. And so that person voted to shut it down after a year of me doing all the work. They were afraid that the folks living with PTSD were going to cause a big scene upstairs and like storm the city, which is just the silliest thing I've ever heard. But
Maybe that's what we need.
right, true, right? Yeah. So
So let's resurrect it.
exactly, because we're here to, our main job, right? Our main job is to make sure these buildings are
Right,
up to code per se,
right.
but we don't have a lot of say in that. So we got to keep busy doing some other good work out there, right?
We're the little bug in the burr under the saddle, that's all.
I like that one too. He's got all the sayings today. The burrow under the saddle. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say I have PTSI from stairs. I have slaughtered myself on stairs. So every time I step to stairs going down, I have this anxiety because
Yeah.
steps. And so I think that it can be any trauma that
Yeah.
has it can be one time or multiple. I've done it so many times that I'm like, oh, every time I step the stairs, there's this little anxiety. Not going up, because when you fall up, there's a finiteness to it. It's the
Right.
falling down.
Yeah.
So I just want to acknowledge that it's I didn't realize it for a long time, but I was like, oh, I have this little panic attack, and I have a house with 3 stairs in, and I just felt trying to come into my house on Saturday, and it was tripping up, and I was just like, yeah, really intense. So I just want to acknowledge it's on all levels, and the only thing we're going to storm is our heads, It's like,
Yeah.
So I just want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Is Bryce there, Jeff?
Oh, Bryce is not here today. He's been out for a few days. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I have David, Kara, and Barbara with me today. But just me for actual voting people.
Oh, I see familiar faces.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the same. A lot of us like to come visit. A lot of Barbara and Kara and David are regular visitors to our meetings, but Bryce and I are
Okay.
voting members.
Thank you. And all right, so we will move on to Eli and I met with City Councilor Owen Zarrett. Originally, we were talking about the accessibility ordinance, but he also talked to us about, so we're going to work backwards, about the high school not having one of their front doors have a handicap button. That's something that previously we were concerned about. And then we had learned that there is a special entrance somewhere else in the back, right? That has the
Right.
button, but like, how would a person know that was there? There's no signage to my knowledge. And so it had been bothering counselors there for a long time, and it's been bothering us. And so I'm just going to go over the email because he ended up copying us in an email to the mayor. He just says, I'm sure that converting the front doors to the high school would be costly, but I think it's something that should be evaluated. And I wonder if a simple solution like signage temporarily to direct people to the back accessible door.
That door's locked half the time.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I could ask.
Have to be.
So that people can-
What's the path from the front to the back? And is it, if someone were to approach that door with a mobility impairment, I mean, that's kind of a big ask.
Right, like, let me write that down. Is it locked? Because it would, right, The
You know,
front
it's-
door is you have to ring a bell and somebody lets you in. So what's the back door like? Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm thinking about, you know, I'll use Bryce as an example, just because he's brought, you know,
You went
or
there.
you know, imagine, you know, um, mobility is, you know, once you're parked, once you already make it to the door. I mean, to then have to, you know, to then have,
All the way around.
yeah, to have to go all the way around or all the way back to your car. Or, you know, it's just, it seems very hard to accomplish. It seems like it could be potentially very difficult to accomplish in a timely manner.
Yeah, right. Um,
That
So
could be a discrimination issue, all kinds of things.
the mayor responded with school buildings are city buildings, but are specifically maintained and improved by the school department. The principals and the school physical plant director are the most direct path to addressing these changes. And then let's see. Owen's gonna, Counselor Zaret's gonna follow up on that. So, yeah, that was always like, how did the school get built like that? Because the school's newer and we were around then. It's just people don't know that we're around, I guess. And, you know, going forward, we've requested with the planning department to be at least invited to things, even if one of us can't make it, like at least invite us, please. Not that we all know everything about all disabilities, but it'd be great to just be part of things going forward instead of coming in at the tail end and then we can't do a whole lot.
Right.
The architect should have been all over that.
So according to, this is Jeff Bagg, who was here before Dylan. He said that the school was met ADA requirements. So I don't know how having one in the back, but nobody knows it's there. And, is there even parking back there? I'm trying to think the times that I've driven around the back, I don't even know if there's
Why
parking.
don't we just go take a walk? Yeah, like
Field
beach-
trip?
beach road. That's the high school.
Yeah,
new
I
high
mean, I have
school.
appointment right after, but yeah, we should go investigate it.
There's parking to that side, if I recall.
The side, but that's not near the door, I don't think. So we'll go over, we'll take some pictures and it just seems like such an obvious, like, doesn't everybody put in the handicap button on front buildings? Like, I just thought that was a thing you had to do.
And how about the new middle school too? We might as well go there too.
Yeah. Did they have that?
Yeah, there's buttons for the doors in the middle school.
Okay. Okay, so that's that issue that's on the radar. As far as the meeting you and I had with Counselor Zaret, City Councilor Gomez has not been able to come to a lot of the meetings or spend a lot of time. He was the main person that was helping us with the accessibility ordinance and the language, but then he's running for office, and so he's super duper busy. I imagine he was elected because there's nobody running against him, so right. So like I asked if he could come today and turns out he's out of town. So it's been a slow process, but they were talking to Jeff Dugan in Boston, who's the Massachusetts Office of Disability, to make sure the language is correct. And so we just kind of had like a oh, there we go, Louise. Where we just went over again, kind of like they wanted to grasp what we're looking for. And in the accessibility ordinance, while we only have power, like the ordinance would say city events would have to list what they have for accommodations and then list a contact number with someone that's knowledgeable for all the hours, right? You can't just get a bartender who's like, I have no idea how to do that. So not sure how. And he talked to us, and this has come up before, about creating a list of accommodations that would, going forward, like these businesses could kind of pick from, just because off the top of their head, they might not be aware what's an accommodation, right? But this would be a limited list because there's no way for us to foresee every single person's accommodation. So it would look like, maybe like seating closer to a stage because you have vision issues, or hearing issues, right? Read my mind, yes. Not just ramps, not just handicap doors, because that's all anybody ever thinks of.
Aren't there some standards, like when you're designing a building, there's architectural graphic standards, okay, or a roundabout or anything like that? And I can see that even those basics aren't being followed. Okay.
Right.
So you build a roundabout for $1 million and it's too tight for a truck to go around. So that's
Right.
why we have tracks going all over all of our roundabouts.
Right.
Stuff like that. And so,
Well, this ordinance is about events,
okay, well, that's just one part of it.
right? This particular one, events or, right, like going to a show somewhere or something.
The first thing on an event is insurance. Okay.
Insurance of the property?
Insurance. Well, for everything. So the vendors have to have insurance and the town has to have insurance. So they start there and it's expensive. And then go from there. So they're covering their what's, but there's other things they're supposed to cover.
Well, we need to, in order to make that list, we're gonna have to do a little subcommittee, like maybe a 1-hour Zoom meeting, for everybody to just, whoever can make it. And you can also email me the ideas of what should be on this list, so that seems like a quick one that we could put together, wouldn't take too long. We just do our best. It's not every accommodation in the world, but, and then there was gonna be, he said something about creating a different ordinance. Oh, shoot. Gotta get this brain working. Because we also want this for private events as well. That's a separate one. We can't control private events, but we sure would like to make a big, strong suggestion. A big hint. Jeff, yeah.
I mean, I would just like to point out that we can control liquor licenses, and places with a liquor license could be required by the same thing to, we could, to have like an accessibility contact person, and that's pretty much everywhere there's an event, there's going to be some sort of liquor license. I think I've made that suggestion before. If I haven't spelled it out like that,
That is smart. So before they get their liquor license, they would have to meet this, or if they already have one, pass this.
Yeah, I don't know that there's any, or just meeting would be just a contact person,
Yes.
Identifying a contact person. So yeah, I mean, having an ODA contact person, yeah.
I may go ahead.
I find in the queer community something that's really helpful, and I'm really always trying to point out to business owners and events. For events to actually say there are 3 steps into the building. The bathroom is not accessible. There is HOH, hard of hearing, available. What it does, it's not fragrance free. The bathroom is not, tell it what it is. Like when I hold events here, it's like there's 3 steps in. It's an open floor plan. The bathroom is not wheelchair accessible. Masks are required. Masks are strongly encouraged. Like the more information that event can put to explain what they don't have, in a way, gives folks like us the ability to make a decision more informed instead of being like that, having to go and do all that labor.
Yes.
And so I think I can't say enough about like if a place is wheelchair accessible, that's not the standard, but it's really important that if you are a wheelchair accessible business, every event you do, you should be announcing that
Right.
little symbol of the wheelchair should be there, because that answers a lot of questions for restrooms, for
Right.
egresses. That means they're going to have parking, you know, and so I just think it's important to also announce you know, the doors aren't automatic. Like, that's a really important one for someone like me who has to like hokey pokey. So I think accessibility also means what's not accessible, so that people can make informed decisions. That's what I want to say.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so we had talked about like cultural chaos, and I know the big problem last year was where are the accessible bathrooms? Because porta potties aren't always accessible, right? So that would be something that there should be a map, one over here and one over there, or not here, like they just said. So it's been, I want to say, a year and a half since we started talking about this. So definitely a slow process. But there was something that Counselor Zaret, it was a different ordinance where he was like, "Oh, we should put this in." I don't remember what it was he said off the top of my head though. And you don't either, right, Eli?
Right.
No. Okay. Right. So a list of what's not there. Yeah, and I'm hoping that this is just like, it starts to be, my goal in this is that it starts to be common sense. Like we're gonna post it. We're gonna put what it is, because it's common courtesy, actually. Like, you want people to visit you, right? So if somebody was coming to your house and you knew they had a disability, you would tell them, oh, you know, like they just said, like, oh, I have stairs in the front. So if you need help, this is what we need to do. And so
Also, we do that for our friends when they're like, oh, I have cats and I'm allergic to cats. So letting people
Yep.
know ahead of time. Like, private residences obviously are different than homes, but I can't tell you how many events I've gone to that I've just been like, could you just put a little, you know, disability info in here and let me know that there's 6 steps, you're on the 2nd floor, there's no bathroom, that there's a porta-jane for disability. Like, how can you get city money for an event and not have disability inclusion when it comes to porta-janes?
are porta-janes nicer than porta-johns?
She is a porta-jane, and that's 40 plus years of being queer. I call them porta-janes.
I love it. Do I order someplace differently, or?
No, the crip one and the non-crip ones. That's it.
Got it. Yes, that's
Different.
smart.
They're cuter.
They're cute, that's nice. Yeah, and I think maybe pictures of a layout, like businesses are advertising, oh, here's our event space. Like, that would be great. I know when I run dance events, I have them at City Space, and it's not always accessible. They're trying to make it accessible, but I try to do, and I'm not saying everybody should have to do this, but because you can't control that, but like, I make a video from walking in the front door all the way down to what it looks like, so they can see for themselves. Because people have disabilities like anxiety, like going to a new place. I just get anxious going to a new place. And so, you know, I have to get permission before, like, oh, is it okay if I make a video? Because there might be people dancing or something. And then, you know, post it and then hope that, you know, there's a lot of folks that get anxious about dancing because that's a very, you know, like a personal expression of yourself. So they're very nervous, and it's helped a few. So I'm hoping with these ordinances, the goal is to change the culture so that it's just on people's minds all the time, just to be considerate. And people make mistakes and slip up, but we're gonna try for this. So
That's another thing why they have service animals, so they can go to places like that. Fly on an airplane.
that's actually something I brought up at a different meeting. And maybe we could bring it up again, because it's a pet peeve of mine, the difference between a service animal and your therapy, emotional support. That is very different, but people do what they want because they want to bring their little puppy into Walmart. So a little frustrating.
it's a two-way street. They need to mind the criteria for that as well. So when you're getting on an airplane and there's a pig sitting in the seat next to you, it's a little stretching.
Yeah.
the thing. It's-
Yeah, I have a friend that would bring his angry chihuahua on a plane, and I was like, I don't, is that a thing? But, all right, so just to recap, I'm gonna go online and look at this livability score. Is your, Louise, you wanna say something?
If I can remember from a minute ago, just adding to your list or to the disabilities list.
Yeah.
Does, and the anxieties, I mean, anxieties as a disability. I think because city space, any event in city space is still accessible to me. But that's because I still have to wear a mask, and most of the world doesn't. So, is there any, I mean, does that even qualify or?
Say it again, what is your concern? You're wearing a mask, other people don't right now.
Right, and I know it's city space, because I know it, and I know Pascalina.
Yeah.
I've had recent experience that your city space is off balance for me. Because
The floor is off balance?
No, off
I'm
bounds,
sorry, off balance,
bounds.
Out of
Oh,
bounds.
Down, sorry, okay.
because it's not still COVID, which is good, but I still have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
So outdoors only, I mean, I already know. But what I don't know is, I mean, it probably self-answers when you,
Meaning you wish everybody was wearing a mask at an event?
no, it's something that I need to know in advance.
I think that could be something, if we were to have businesses put out a survey, you know, we could list some things like, are masks required, is scent sensitive, like what you were saying, Amy. Like, you know, just is it scent sensitive? Are there steps? I think if we were to list, like, you know, have a, you know, 30-line questionnaire or something like that for the most common things we could think of. I think what your suggestion, Louise, about us saying are masks required here is a good suggestion. I don't know that like the ADA would like require under any circumstances for everybody to wear a mask to accommodate one person. But I think that could be, if we were gathering information to present, you know, either as part of the accessibility ordinance or just to complement it when we're talking, you know, I think we could say that. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ame.
I gotta go.
Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Ami, she, her. I think that stating masks are encouraged, masks are required. Any information, whether they're encouraged or they're required, is an acknowledgement of what the status is. Because I wear a mask when I go into events, and I have friends who don't go anywhere with it unless everybody's masked. So that is a very important. I think at this point in COVID, which is with us forever, that information be standard, mask encouraged, you know, so that people can make informed decisions.
That's not good.
It's again like, oh, there are 3 stairs coming in. We have multi-language readers. It's translated, like things that you do have, you know, and masks should be not a sidebar, but absolutely like information. Because like I said, I know people who won't go to events if they don't see anything about masks. That means people aren't masking and it's not required, and masks aren't provided at the door, and the so I totally, not a sidebar, but think it's a real priority because people who are compromised like myself, and I'm sure a few others in this room, like want to know, because like making a choice is really important and not having it is also really important.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, of course. One of the things throughout town that I feel like people aren't aware of is not masks, but the gas station, it says that you can press this little button and somebody will come out and pump your gas for you. And it's been there forever and I noticed it, but the once or twice that I was not feeling well and tried it out, nobody ever answered the bell. And when I went in, they were like, oh, there's only one person at the cash register. We can't leave it. So that one just bothers me. Like if you have it, but then you don't have somebody that knows it exists. If your employee doesn't even know it exists, what are they going to be? Oh, what's that beeping? Like, because gas stations where people pump for you there's not that many around anymore. And so I just wonder how that works. Like,
You even have to get out of the car to pump it. So that kind of is the whole thing, is like, oh, I can't get out of my car right now. My disability is so flare, to push the button to say, can I get assistance, please?
that's a good question. If
That's not accessibility.
is it close enough that you could push it from your window? Huh.
It would also depend which side I think your gas tank is on, right?
Oh, that would also suck.
Right?
That
Because
would
my
really
gas
suck.
tank is on
This side.
not my
And
driver's
we're on
side.
that side and you can't push the button. Interesting. Well, no one's ever available to begin with. So I've never had it work. I haven't done it a lot, but that's just like people don't even know that exists. There is a little sticker, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Easthampton, in everybody's town, right, that isn't being followed, and it's frustrating. And yeah. So all right. So sidewalks, I can ask the DPW again, like what the process is for reporting sidewalks. I mean, on the planning department, there was an email, but that goes to, I think the Massachusetts Office of Disability, like all the way to Boston or something. So not sure how people can report it. Oh, I can't even think what it's called. PSA. There we go.
Right.
The PSA. We wanted to redo it, but then we lost our Jeff Bagg, our fearless leader, PSA leader. So I'm going to repost it. If you guys are on Facebook, if you could share it. It's just basically me embarrassingly telling everybody to shovel their driveways out of respect. And just as a reminder, if people aren't shoveling the walkways, sidewalks, driveways, you're supposed to call the police. And the police are supposed to be documenting it. I know that, again, that's a tough issue for some people because some people are scared of the police. Who wants to call the police over snow? I need an update on this, but last I knew, they didn't have a code in their computer for just snow removal. It was falling under like lots of other categories, so it was hard to keep track of who was notoriously not shoveling. So I feel like they said they were going to change that and get a code. So maybe I can ask about that shoveling code.
I got this great idea for those who don't shovel. We take tomato soup and we pour it on their snow, and then it looks like bloodshed, and then it'll be like, and people will be like, oh my gosh. And then they'll be like, oh, I have to take care of this because it looks really sketch.
Are you in charge of the tomato soup pot?
Yeah, because community center, don't tell Robin I said this. We could take the tomato soup that they're always giving away, and then we can be like, yeah, a little gorilla action.
But it's a good use. Got it.
It's a good use. See, yeah, I was just like, because
We won't tell Robin.
Don't tell Robin that's what I'm using her tomato soup for, people. Don't blow up my spot,
I
please.
won't. I won't. That's a public service you're doing.
I think if we can do things ourselves, because at this point, it might be faster and also community oriented, filling in the
Yeah.
potholes, like
Yep.
marking where the big divots are, like let's spray paint that there's a big on the sidewalk, that there's a big gaff there, and taking spray paint. It's like,
True.
it's just marking. It's just marking. It's like it'll get worn off, walked over, and
That's
It can,
true.
it can also be looked on as facing,
what
As what?
defacing a
Defacing.
property.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know
Not
what,
flattering yourself, but if somebody wants to
Having
be a schmuck,
Right. Having some spray paint around an area like in the sidewalk is better than having your face on the sidewalk, but that would be fun. I don't
that's
know.
happening. That's happening in areas where people are taking bright color orange or whatever and making a circle around really big potholes that are like tire swallowing, tire popping, just because they're not going to get filled. And who wants to go buy a cone? But that's what it needs, like to make you
Yeah.
aware, and bicyclists, that there's these potholes.
I just
So
paid $250 for a stupid tire. Like, jeez, it's ridiculous. I didn't have that. So I don't think Robin's gonna make it. It's 5 minutes up. Who knows though? So are there other things that we did not talk about that folks want to talk about, since I'm totally blowing the agenda? Oh, wait, I just had to say it and you appeared.
Chasing you around the building.
Sorry. All
No,
right.
I went downstairs the last time I met with the disability board. They were
Yeah, they were
downstairs.
downstairs. Yeah.
wow,
Go get downstairs.
Yeah.
you
Welcome.
really are a superhero, Robin.
Yes. Take it
Yeah,
away.
here.
Tell us
Here,
about your
here.
services.
Okay. So what I want to let everybody know is that the Easthampton Community Center is disability compliant, so people can come if they're in a wheelchair. But we actually deliver to people. So anybody that is disabled, absolutely can't be here, we make sure that we deliver to them so that nobody is left out. Any of the veterans are automatically qualified. Anyone on disability, automatically qualified. SSDI, or SSI.
Who's delivering it? It's not you, is it?
Yeah,
If they already receive food stamps, Mass Health, anything like that, they're automatically qualified for food.
Perfect.
So, and our goal is to, get out there and serve as many people as we can.
Do you know how many you're serving?
How many? 4,700 families.
Oh my goodness.
It's 10,000 people a month that we are serving.
and how many of those are? I don't want to say shut-ins, but how many of those are home deliveries?
We do 212.
Damn, Robin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Weekly, or is
Yeah.
that month?
Is it like once a week?
That's once a week. Yeah.
Please clapping.
That's once a week.
Applause.
Yeah.
So walk through what the process is like to get approved.
So generally what we do is we ask people if they can come in the first time. If not, I will go to their home and meet them to fill out. It's a one-page form, very easy, simple. We need to know the number of people in the household. We need to know if there are any medical needs, if somebody's on a gluten-free diet, allergy-free diet, salt-free diet, low sugar, so that we can adapt what they're getting. And we try to do that, right from the get-go. If there's something that they absolutely hate, I'm not going to put it in their bag. So because please don't ever give me green beans. It's
Right.
okay, we can do that. But yeah, we try to make it as adaptable as possible for everybody. And that's it. It's a pretty simple, easy process.
You still have the clothes and like toys.
We still have clothes. We still have, we're working on turkeys for Thanksgiving. So that's a big thing right now. We did 150 families yesterday with turkeys.
Oh, wow.
And some people took chickens, a couple had ham. It's like, whatever we can make sure that they get a Thanksgiving meal,
Okay.
which is big. And then for the December holidays, Christmas holidays, all of the kids get under the age of 14, get a bag of brand new pair of pajamas, new blanket, new stuffed animal, toys, games, puzzles, whatever we get donated. So that each child gets something,
Yeah.
that's an undertaking. Last year we did almost 1,600 kids.
I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, and this year, everything is way more expensive than it should be. So, so
Oh my God.
we're really,
Those tariffs coming in. Yeah.
I just bought a box of cereal, Sugar Smacks for $7.49. I almost died.
No.
What the heck? That's a
we
blown up
go
price.
through 600 boxes of cereal a week for the kids. So the
Yeah.
kids, we have a kids pantry.
Yeah.
So the kids also, each child gets a bag of food that's breakfast, lunch, and snacks for 7 days
Oh,
to supplement what the schools are giving.
that's year round, not just summer.
It used to be just summer. We are doing it year round. Since COVID, we are doing it year round. We still keep getting reports from the teachers and the school system. These kids are coming in hungry. They're not getting enough the night before. So we're trying to make sure that we can at least fill in some of those gaps.
Wow. So you're even busier than you used to be.
We gave out
For
2.5
sure.
million pounds of food last year.
Robin, can you clarify identification when a person initially signs up, what they should be bringing with them for ID to sign up themselves and or their family? Is it a
Well,
bill?
initially I like them to come in, but
Right,
if-
but what identity do they need to bring? State ID or a phone bill, like a utility bill?
it shows an address. So any kind of piece of mail. We don't need to see what's in the mail. We just need something with an address. And if they get food stamps or Mass Health, we would like to see that card. And, that way we know that they're already qualified for a federal program. It walks them right into the USDA food. So it's just easier for everybody. They don't have to go through the process anymore of
Right.
like we used to do, like, bring in a bank statement and all of that garbage.
Right.
We just don't need.
And
So
then what about status? What about people's status? Do they have to be documented? Can they be undocumented? Is any of that questioned?
we take anybody, Ami, you know that.
I know, but I want you to state that for the group, so the group has that information.
We do.
So-
We have a pantry for people who are halal and kosher, all of that, and they do not need to be documented.
Correct. Thank you. That's for everybody's info. So
We actually have some that we deliver to that are terrified of being ousted, they don't want to be sent back, kind of thing. So we'd actually, I can get right to their house.
Okay.
You don't have to come out and be out in the public.
But you're not running events there anymore, right?
No, the entire hall is pallets of food.
Okay.
Our big conference hall.
Yeah.
That big hall is just pallets and pallets, and the racks are over my head, 7-8 feet high.
So there's no need to be able, like, you have the elevator, but there's no need for it because people shouldn't be going to.
Most everybody we serve right outside.
Okay.
We have a number that come in that are on oxygen, disabled. They still like to come rather than being delivered.
Mhm.
And we have them drive right up and we just put it right in their car.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but not the dinners anymore because the space is taken.
Right.
Okay.
Right, we can't do the dinners.
I
did
don't
you have to shore up your floor like you thought you were going to have to do? You were like all this weight on your event room, and you were.
No,
worried about the floor?
we've actually had a couple of engineers in and they have been certified
Okay.
that, actually, they keep telling us the building will last longer than any other in town. It's 1879, so
Right.
we just weren't sure structurally. The engineers are like, yeah, this thing was built. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And are you going to be there forever or you need somebody to take over?
I told them I was going to retire 2 years ago.
Okay.
They're still looking for somebody to do it's a lot. And they're looking for somebody they're looking for 2 people to come in
Smart.
and, yeah. But
I told them you were looking for board members too. Like,
Members?
yes, we're always looking to add on to the board.
When is the board meetings?
The board meeting is generally the second Thursday of the month from 12 to 1. It's a daytime meeting.
Are there any questions?
Robin, yeah. Is, our board meetings accessible, which for me personally means Zoom?
Yes,
Awesome.
I will pursue.
Yes.
I
That's
didn't know what
great
I
news.
have.
I have some board members that fight it, but we can definitely do a Zoom meeting.
They want in person.
Yeah, they want it.
Hi. Accessibility. It's not just a word.
Any other questions for Robin?
Thank you for your labor.
Okay, so it's 12:03. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That means a
I'm sorry I
lot.
was late.
It's okay.
Traffic out of Westfield was a nightmare.
You did it perfect. The meeting went well.
All right.
Um,
And any of you know, all you got to do is pick up the phone and call me and I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'm accessible 24/7, I will tell you.
I can tell.
All right, I will scoot out of here and you guys can have a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is 12:03.
Thank you, Robin.
So I just
Bless
want to
you.
thank everybody for coming. And the next meeting is December, I think it's December 12th. So, all right. So thank you. Talk to you all another time.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.